it smells funny. When you get molten bread, it's like, it gives, yeah. It puts me off.
My life.
Next time sniff it first and you probably won't want to eat it.
This is what I'm taking away from this experience.
Yeah.
Sniff your mouldy bread.
Yeah. It kind of goes like,
Just move a little bit closer.
pretend you like each other.
Right, okay, I'm probably
Okay, so let's be easy to start with. Can you just introduce yourselves and say your name, how old you are, and where you've come from today?
Yeah, I'm Cleo, I'm 18 and I'm from Sussex, training at Rehearsal.
I'm Matthew, I'm 20, originally from Manchester and also at Romeo.
I'm Alex, I'm 18, I'm originally from Cheshire and I'm training at Romeo.
So there's one thing you all seem to have in common here. So how long have you guys known each other?
Like 2 years?
We trained together back in Manchester, so we've known each other
4
for
years,
a while.
5 years.
So when the audition opportunity came up, were you all like, right, we all need to go for this, but we may not all get, how did it kind of go? Was there loads of you together and you all kind of
There
went?
were quite a few people from our school in the audition. I can remember a group of us all being like, okay, we'll go together and see what happens.
But it was before I was in training, so I didn't know anyone. So
So I don't care, I'm just going for it. I don't care if you guys, I'm just going for it. And so when did that all start? In terms of the time scale, like when did that audition process happen?
It was like March
It was-
2018, wasn't
Yeah.
it? Yeah. So it was ages ago. We've been here on a proper journey.
So then, so you auditioned in the beginning of last year.
Yeah.
Then when did you start? You obviously got the roles.
Yeah.
Then when did you start the rehearsals?
So we had our first intensive in August. So we had 3 days then, and then we had 3 days in December, and then 3 days in
Somewhere else.
March, and then 2 days in June, and then now we're here.
Okay, so you do them, and then what do you then go away? And in between, obviously you don't just go away in between and forget about it. How does that kind of work? What do you?
I mean, I guess when we started, there wasn't really a show, so it was just about us like understanding like what New Adventures do and kind of learning some movement from other shows and getting an idea of like how we might fit into this production. But it was kind of just like giving us a taste or giving like a little snippet of that kind of mindset.
Yeah, because we sort of had to put in, we did a lot of New Adventures rep, but also because Ariel was obviously an associate choreographer, we had to learn some of her rep as well. So it was a nice little mix of the two styles, what Romeo and Juliet was going to be like, with the two different choreographers.
And so you do the intensives, and then you go off, and obviously I'm guessing you kind of practice that stuff in between. You don't just go.
Yeah.
So you don't just go away and go, okay, right, see you in 2 months.
No, we all like booked the studios like, oh my god, we need to get this, we need to really get this, especially before the start.
And then with this one, how does it work? So there's 6 young people in each city it's moved to. There's been a different cast, and then that's right.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's right.
Yes.
You look at me like,
There's 12 of us in London because we have it's a 4-week run at Sadler's, so we do the last 2 weeks, and then there's
Cast A.
the other cast are currently on doing their 2 weeks. So I kind of
okay, so presumably you've met, you know those guys because they're in
Yes.
London with you. What about the other? Did you ever? Is there points where you've trained with the other people, or have you never met any of the other people doing it?
I've done a little bit just because I missed one of our intensives, so I got to meet some of the other casts, which was really nice. And you just because I guess the dance world's really small, so you see someone and you're like, oh, we're playing the same part in this show. It's kind of funny, all these different realities of what the show will be. It's really interesting.
And have you seen the finished versions of any of the other ones? So did you go to some of the other ones before?
Yeah, we've seen the Capulet cast.
Alex didn't come.
We've seen the Capulet cast. We've seen the Capulet
Yeah.
cast in London. So
I've
we've
seen them
the
on
other
Sunday.
cast do
I've
it.
seen them on Sundays.
Yeah.
Were you just like, no, you know what? I'm
No,
busy,
I was
that
busy.
day.
I was busy.
I mean, fair enough.
Stick about this.
And just for people who don't know, how much training is involved before, you've done these intensives, and then how does it work? Because obviously it started last week, didn't it? Was it the London run? So how does it kind of work, and how does the training work leading up, and then once it starts, what do you have to continue to do?
Well, so we had 3 days where we learned some of the material of the show. So this is when you were in Birmingham for a little bit. We did 2 days in London, but because it was all a bit messed up. But then we basically thrown in the deep end here. So we started a day before the procast and just tried to learn some of the big bits of material, the big group bits that we all do together, and then the acting parts, the sort of milling around with big scenes, all sort of came together with the procast. So we learned a lot of the big movement pieces on our own.
And I think in terms of what we continue to put into it. Like Claire was saying, with the whole acting and character side of it, it feels like it's not like a training process of just like learning all the movements and then we kind of like can replicate that. There's a lot of like us getting to play around and work out like our relationships with the other actors and performers on stage, and kind of so I guess we get to kind of continue through this journey just of like discovering like who our characters are and what our opinions or reactions are.
Yeah, because then that's what makes each show different, because there's different young casts in every city, so there's 6 new people in the whole production who are going to be doing different reactions to different things, so the whole show changes each city it's in. It's been really interesting to watch each different one actually. Yeah.
As you need to do the tour of the lot and see, yes. But some people must have done that. I bet people have booked tickets and just followed you around. Yeah, you see Superfans, they might have done that. Could happen. And what's the sort of been the most interesting thing about working with the pro cast? How's that been different, and what are the things you'll take away that you maybe didn't even think about, but that now you're kind of like, wow, that experience has really changed me and changed the way I do things?
I think when we started on Monday, I felt like, character building and all this stuff, I was really unsure of my character. But like being around the procast, it's so amazing to see how they've built their character already, and we've still got so much to work on. But it's been so inspiring, like working off of them and like taking it off of them.
Well, it must be. I mean, it must be amazing. And are they like? It must be good for them as well, though, to have it. Must just that change the dynamics basically of how things
They're
work.
all so lovely.
Yeah.
They're all so nice and friendly and come and introduce themselves and welcoming, and
it's
feel
a
like a
really
proper
young
part
cast.
of the show. Yeah.
Yeah.
So a lot of them are only like a couple of years older than us anyway, like or younger.
And then what's been your experience so far? Matthew Bourne's done so many amazing things, and everyone's always very, every time there's something new coming out, people are expecting something different and new and exciting. What do you think it is about a Matthew Bourne production that makes it so exciting, and what's your experience been like to kind of work on one of his amazing things?
I've always loved the storytelling aspect of it, because you don't get many companies now that aren't ballet companies that do the big epic stories that Matthew Bourne does. So it really takes you on a journey throughout the performance, and they're also different. He puts his own spin on them, so you never know what you're going to end up seeing when you go to one of his performances. So that's the thing that's always really attracted me to it. It's the storytelling, it's the story, it's the narrative, it's the world that it transports you into.
I agree.
They were like, yeah, said that well. You've done that, you said that. And then because it's not the sort of standard Romeo and Juliet people, I'm sure a lot of people know, but some people might not know that he's taken it's a very different twist. What can you tell us about the way that this interpretation that's different from previous incarnations?
I mean, I think it's also coming from the ballet as well as the Shakespeare, so there's already kind of a crossover in what the story is, but I think as there is in a lot of his work, there's kind of a focus on gender and I guess gender roles and gender stereotyping, as well as kind of sexuality. There's this kind of feels like Romeo and Juliet really kind of for our generation, and how this story might play out in this kind of society that doesn't feel too far off the one we live in anyway. So there's kind of dystopian kind of thing.
Feels
but
very Orwellian.
It feels close to home.
Close to home, Jesus. What home are you living in? It's scary. It's a lot darker, I would say, than like the ballet or anything.
It's like, no,
I think, I mean...
Well, that's the whole thing about these kind of things. It's like open to interpretation, isn't it? And everyone's
Yeah.
going to experience it in a different way.
It's a lot grittier. It has some real aspects to it, as opposed to being a fairy tale.
And then what about how do you deal with nerves? Are you good with that? Do you use it in your favour, or how's that been to be in Sadler's Wells?
I feel like it really depends on the person. Some people find that and they take it into the performance with them, and it sort of really works for them as like an adrenaline rush sort of thing. Other people will have a routine backstage, proper calming down, warming up thing. So it really depends on the person.
What do you do?
It's kind of different. I don't want to say I don't get that nervous, but I must use it on stage. It must be like a proper adrenaline thing for me because I really look forward to it. So it's not so much of a nerves thing, it's more of a excitement building up, and then it sort of comes out when I'm on stage. So, yeah.
That sounds like a good way to use it. And then what about like kind of winding down? What do you guys do after? Like, because is it quite difficult at the end of that? You must be on such a high. What do you then do to kind of conserve your energy but not go mental and stay up all night going crazy?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just about like looking after yourself and kind of like, and this is obviously such a massive thing of like self-care and just making sure that we're fueling our bodies and sleeping enough and kind of like taking ourselves out of the emotions because it's quite intense, it's quite full out in terms of these quite difficult emotions to access. I don't think it's just about like doing whatever we need to kind of, whether that's like immediately snap out of it or just take a bit of time to like let it leave.
No, that makes sense. Because I know like sort of actors have said to me things like that. They don't like to like, they don't want to read a book because they don't want to get too far removed from the scene they're filming, but they don't want to listen to music necessarily because it might take them into the wrong mood. Like it's quite difficult. A lot of them said to me it's quite difficult the hanging around and the sort of waiting things is quite, to know actually what to do at that time. Be relaxed but not take yourself completely out of it. It's quite difficult. So I always find that really interesting, like how, because I just think, oh, well, you just pick up a book or something or something, but then like, oh no, sometimes you can't do that because then you're another character or you're, there's that kind of thing. So do you guys listen to music? Do you watch? How do you kind of?
I feel like it's easier to sort of stay as a cast. Like, whatever we do, we'll sort of be together. Sort of be together in whatever it is that we do, because then we get to stick with at least the same people, the same characters that we're interacting with. I feel like that's the easiest way to go about it, but not get stuck in it for the whole run of the show. You don't want to be in that mindset for the whole run.
Yeah. Okay, that makes sense. Cool. I'm being told I had to stop. I'm thinking I'm talking too much, so I also need to get to your.
I'll make copies whenever you want to start.
Okay. Oh. Just making sure I'm attached. So, actually, first of all, could you just introduce yourself and say where you've got your name, how old you are, where you come from? So I've got everyone's all the details.
My name's Saren Williams. I'm originally from Brighton. I'm 22 years old.
Excellent. Now, when did this start? Let's get the time frame first. So when did you land this amazing role for starters?
Well, we started rehearsals back in March. And we rehearsed for 6 weeks, and then we went to Leicester for a couple of weeks to tech and rehearse again in the space on stage. So it was a 7-week rehearsal process, and then we've been doing the first half of the tour. We went to 3 different venues. That's our cast. There's been the Capulet cast, which runs alongside us, so we alternate between rehearsal venues and performance venues. So yeah, it's been going on for a while, but we've had a break and we're back for Sav as well now.
Yeah, so I was looking at that, so I was trying to work out how it works. So there's one, so it's the alternate city. So one block is one lot of cast, and then the next. So you get, which sounds like a perfect way of doing it.
So the reason we do it is for the young cast. So it takes us a week to teach them the show. And then we perform it the week after. So they essentially learn the show in 2 or 3 days, which is amazing. And then we run it a few times in rehearsals, and then we get on stage the week after, and then we're performing. So it's a really quick process. So they've been amazing to pick up so quickly. But then whilst we're rehearsing one cast, the Capulets are performing. So we rehearse, they perform, and then we swap.
And how's that been? Because obviously you're working with a different set of these young guys at each one, so it must change the energy and the dynamics each time.
Yeah, definitely. They all bring their own energy, which is really nice. It's constant new ideas coming into the company, and they're all so lovely, and we try to be as welcoming as we can and make them really feel like they're part of the company. Yeah, they're really great, really great. They've got a lot to learn in such a small amount of time, so it's impressive. Were those opportunities around when you started out? Is this kind of it feels like it's quite a new thing, and it seems great. But no, I definitely didn't have this opportunity, and I would have absolutely loved to, having grown up seeing this company perform. So it's really such an amazing opportunity to essentially become part of the company, even if it is just for a week, to get a taste of what it's like to be part of the company and how Matt works and how the company is run. and what the people are like. So it's a great opportunity for them.
And then what is it about the Matthew Bourne stuff that what do you love about it and what makes it so unique? Because this isn't your first production, is it? So you've done...
I think what is so amazing about this company is how it can make the audience feel something, and it's real storytelling at its finest. And I think Matt's amazing at making an audience completely invest in the show and believe it. And it's just so amazing to be part of that journey for an audience member, to be able to tell that story and take these iconic roles. The story of Romeo and Juliet is so iconic, so to be able to portray that character in such an amazing setting with amazing set and costume and lighting and choreography is really special. You don't get that a lot of places.
And what was your kind of relationship with the story before you got involved in this one? You know, was it through reading it at school? Was it through watching the film? You know, watching Leonardo DiCaprio? What was kind of your? What was your?
I studied it at school, which is great, and I've seen it in many different forms. So I've seen the films, I've seen the ballet, I've seen different plays of it, and it's interesting because each version is very different. But I always found that they were ultimately the same, because it's hard with Shakespeare because you stick to the script and he's amazing, but we can't. So to be able to tell that story just through dance, it's really incredible. But I studied it a lot, so it's nice to be able to actually bring my own twist to the role.
And I mean, I haven't seen it yet, so I've got to wait till next week. But from what I understand, it's also a very different take. It's like a very different take on. What can you tell us about like this interpretation compared to things before?
Well, I'll try not to ruin it too much. But it's set in an institution of some sort, in a society where love is forbidden. So men and women are separated. And the feud isn't between the Montagues and the Capulets, which it is in the original story. It's between the inmates and the guards. So that's one of the biggest twists. It's all generally young people in the institution, and then you've got the guards who are older. So that's the biggest twist. There's a lot of plot twists throughout, things that do happen that don't necessarily happen in the original story, but things that don't. And you have to come and see it.
I have to wait and see. And what do you kind of do to, like, how do you make sure you stay fit and healthy throughout this whole process? Because it's quite a big undertaking, isn't it? And it's also really long because you've been travelling, and how do you? What are your kind of tips to do that?
Yeah, well, I try to look after myself as best as I can. So eating well, sleeping well. We have a great physio who tours with us. She keeps our bodies intact, which is great. Just looking after yourself, really. It's a lot of maintenance and just making sure that you rest as well as work hard, because it can be a great balance between the two that works best. But we've got great support from everyone on the team. So,
And do you find it easy to relax before a performance? Are you kind of hyped up? And do you find it easy to wind down after? How do you do those kind of things?
It's more, the hyping up is okay, it's the winding down after that's quite hard actually, because it is such a traumatic story. So sometimes I do find it hard to wind out of it, so I have to separate what happens on stage to off stage. So listen to music or watch TV or be with friends. So it does take a while, but it's so rewarding to be able to achieve that level of performance, to then come out of it. It's nice to just wind down.
I can imagine your friends being like, "Jesus, you're a bit stressed tonight. You're a bit tense." Like, get back into my normal thing. And then what do you do? Like, what will you do at the end of this run? Do you then like have to go and literally lie on a beach for 3 weeks and do nothing and not move, lie like a corpse? Or do you just kind of tend to keep on?
It depends. I think some people really like to just rest and get completely away. We just had a long break, so some people go on holiday and just completely relax, but I quite like to, not as full on as the shows are, but I like to keep active, keep doing things, because otherwise I think I can go very up and down. So to just keep a constant level of activity is really good.
Well, thank you so much.
No,
It was
thank
lovely to talk to
you.
Like arrows on the floor as well, so you know, like, okay, walk in here, turn left. Or still
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 not
falls
good.
me every time.
Okay.
Am I good? Oh, I'll stay there. We'll wait until that wheelie thing's wheeled.
Do you want me to look at? Amazing.
Yes.
So we're so weird when it's just like, no,
Yeah.
don't do that.
People sometimes do that though in between. They sometimes like that, and you're like, why are you doing
Beers,
that?
you're like, what are you doing?
Anyway,
Sorry.
okay, so
Yes.
first of all, talk me through what's a typical day. Like we're in the studio, so what happens? How does it? When does it start? When does it finish? How intense is it?
It's very intense. So we start at 10 a.m. Every day, and we'll have class, which is either ballet or contemporary. We alternate between the two, just to kind of keep us nice and rounded in the styles that we do. And then today we're going till 8:30, so it's a long day today. So either 8:30 or 6. Yeah.
So do you just like kind of do you have to like sort of half do it to try and keep yourself, or do you have to put everything? I don't really know how it works.
Yeah, no, you definitely ease yourself in. You've got to take care of your body, but we're really well supported with physios and coaches that we have to make sure that we're all right and that we're strong enough to do these really long days. But you have to build your stamina up. Yeah, you can't just go straight in and hope for the best.
And you probably can't just go. Just imagine my legs now just there. I'm just gonna do that.
Absolutely. No, can't do
That'll
that.
go down too well.
Got to do it properly.
Yeah. So you basically have to put full. What I'm just saying is it do you have to go 100%? Is it different? Obviously, it's different between a performance and a rehearsal. But
Yeah.
do you, like, what's the sort of balance of how you?
It'll depend. So if we're rehearsing and getting people into something they don't know yet, so with the local cast that we've got here, obviously that goes. The pace of the day is a bit slower. So they have to get into their spacing and traffic. So you do things a couple of times. So physically you'll do things kind of fully, but emotionally, because this story is obviously high intensity, you'll kind of leave that until you do a run. So we're going to do a run this afternoon, so that'll be quite full on for everyone.
Did you then like go out with your friends and they're like, God, you're intense at the moment, what's going on? Do you have to like...
You've got to leave it at the door, you can't take it with you, it's dangerous.
Oh my God, but just give it, yeah. Because this is, I mean, not to give too much away, but this is like a different kind of version than people have seen before.
Yes.
What can you kind of say that, without sort of spoiling it?
I would say that there's key themes that are still there from the Shakespeare text, so that whole thing of forbidden love is still really, really important. The rivalry between two families is very different, we don't have that. I think I can say that it's more between the young being suppressed by the institution or the establishment. I think that's probably a fairer statement. Matt's been really clever and played around with some of the characters, some of the sexes, so that's a little bit different as well. And I think he's found something really amazing with this version of the story that makes it even more relevant today. Really important, putting young people in the forefront of the story.
Did you did you read it at school and stuff? Did you know, what was your what
Yeah.
was your relationship with the story before?
We studied it at school, and then I feel like I know the film with Leonardo DiCaprio very, very well. Like everyone growing up as a teenager watches that film. So that was great to watch that as a start to research for this, but I think because we knew that we were going in a slightly different direction, there was bits of it to take which are fantastic. You know, the actors in that film are amazing at what they do, and there's definitely parts of their performance do you think that's fantastic, that really captures like the youth element of it, or that first bit where they see each other and they meet. But other stuff, we use so many different sources and lots of film to try and make our characters as well rounded as possible.
And then working with because you've obviously worked with different young teams everywhere you've gone, that
Yeah.
must change the dynamics and the energy. How's that what's that experience been like?
It's been brilliant, very different for us because we've never done anything like that before. But yeah, meeting 6 new people at every venue who are really enthusiastic, really hungry, want to do it, and you just kind of feed off their energy, which is fantastic. Obviously people do things at a different pace, so sometimes they're super fast, picking up movement, but the emotion takes a bit longer, and sometimes it's the other way around. But normally by the time you'll start shows, everyone's kind of on an even playing field, and we've had some brilliant young people that hopefully will go on to have amazing careers.
Did you feel kind of quite protective over you? It must be like sort of
A little
close to
bit,
it, yeah.
yeah. By the end of the 2 weeks, it feels really strange to be leaving them where they are, and then we carry on and we meet the next set of young people like 2 days later. So that feels really strange. And the first time we did it, you kind of felt like you were cheating on like the people that we'd left in Bradford. It was so surreal. I know it's not you, and it was really sad. But they've been brilliant brilliant young people so far.
Would you wish there was something like that? I presume there wasn't something like that around when you started. 'Cause it's quite, it's quite a new thing to do, isn't it?
It's a very new thing to do something, I think, at this level. There's some really wonderful youth projects going on in the UK, but doing something that's this high profile is such a brilliant opportunity. And yeah, I wish that I'd had it when I was growing up. It would have been amazing. Yeah.
But you don't need to now because you're already there.
Well, yeah,
There you
we'll
go.
see.
Yeah, I don't have to worry about it. And what is it that makes Matt's stuff so different? And what is it that what's working with him like compared to how does it compare to other things? How do you describe it?
I think what's so brilliant about the work that we do here is that it's so story and character driven, and so you're getting to play these really well-rounded characters that come from this wonderful place of normal life. And I think the reason his work's so successful, or one of the many reasons, is that people can relate to it very, very quickly. It's very open. People can see either a theme in it that they're like, oh, that really relates to me, or I know someone like that, or that kind of thing, but then is amplified because it's the art, so things are generally more intense and more extreme. And this has been an incredible experience, being there from the start, creating a new show. It's been really wonderful.
And then how do you kind of keep yourself chilled out, or do you not? Like, do you get really hyped up before, and how long before do you get hyped up, and then how do you like bring yourself down after? What's your kind of method of? Because those performances are obviously really intense in the middle.
Yeah.
But you've got to go the whole day, haven't you?
Absolutely. So we'll normally have rehearsals during the day before a show anyway, which is lovely because you'll get to see everyone. Often what happens when you're doing a big role like Romeo or Juliet, you don't actually see many people in the company on stage because you're so focused on what you're doing, or all your scenes are with a couple of people. So it's really nice that we get to integrate properly with the company then. And then before the show, normally like an hour before, I like to be quite quiet. Some people like to play really loud music and have a good dance and like get it all out, but I like to focus in just because it really helps me get ready for what I'm about to do. And then after the show, just like the biggest relief that it's kind of happened and hopefully gone well is that kind of come down, I guess, happens naturally, and yeah, it takes a while to calm down, but it's good.
And then good night's sleep.
Yes, that's very important. 8 hours.
Good, I'm glad to hear it. Well, thank you so much. It's
No
lovely
problem.
to talk to you, and thanks for. Who wants to say he can hear you?
Okay. Hi, I'm Matt. I should be looking at that. Just stare at that behind.
Yeah, I mean, you can look at the microphone, but no. It's
What am I saying?
no, it's just to get a sound level.
Okay, that's
so that's fine.
I'm Hannah.
Hiya, I'm Callum.
See, Callum knew what he was doing.
Yeah.
Come on.
I didn't.
No, you
But
shouldn't. I'm joking.
Kind of squash in.
I'm joking.
Brilliant. Yep. That's fantastic. Right. Whenever you're ready.
Are we just talking to you?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yes. Okay. So, first of all, did you guys meet on this? Is this the first time you guys have met when you got these roles and met on here?
Yeah. So we met in our first intensive back in last year August. So yeah, and then more intensives, getting to know each other, and then spending time here in the studio.
So it must be quite weird. So you're basically like thrown together, and then you're spending your entire lives together for a few weeks.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
And now you probably know everything about each other.
Inside and out. Yeah.
You're like, yeah, too much now. Too much. And then what kind of, so explain like what's happened today, what's just the sort of place where we are, what would a day like this be like, what do? You come in and at what time and what happens? And
Yeah, so usually class starts at 10, but there's the expectation you've got to be in earlier. So usually maybe like about half an hour, 20 minutes beforehand, kind of warm yourself up, ready for class, then we do class, and then run anything that we need to, and then it's kind of all guns blazing, go for the day, basically.
And then how's it been for you guys to work with the Procast? What's that sort of added to your already? Obviously, you already have knowledge and you already have some experience, but how has that helped and what's that experience been like?
Oh, it's been absolutely incredible. Like to see the depth of movement and learn from them. And then, of course, they're teaching us the sort of little parts in the role, which is really great to work on, professional dancers. It's such an amazing experience.
Is it like totally different? Is there like something does it completely change things when you've got like that dynamic? Is it like a different?
Well, the thing that I love, is that they don't treat you like the pros and then us. It's like they really integrate us and make us feel like part of the company, which is amazing. Yeah.
And did you get to see any of the other venues? That's not the right word. Did you get to see any of the other You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Have you seen any of the other cast before? Is what I'm trying to say in a really bad way.
So
yeah, we watched the other cast for London.
So the other London one, you
Yeah.
didn't, not any of the previous ones in the other places. You saw, yeah. So how's that, and how does that kind of? Because I guess every team's got their own dynamic and their own way of doing things.
It's really strange to watch because you often find yourself drawn to who you're playing, like watching each cast, remember? But yeah, trying to step back and watch the show as a whole as well and enjoy it.
And was it kind of surprising when you saw it? Because I presume there are bits that are a little different. You know, they probably do things slightly differently.
Yeah.
Was it kind of?
Yeah,
How was that? Was it weird?
It's really interesting to see your track and seeing them how they portray it and how they like. I know that the person who's playing my track in London, I can see things, and I'm like, oh, I don't personally play it like that. But then it's nice to kind of get a kind of a sense before we started rehearsals, kind of a gist of what what we kind of should be feeling. But equally, we've got artistic license at the end of the day, which is really unheard of and really nice to play around and have it different every night.
Yeah, and you see little bits and you go, oh, that was nice. I might try that.
Maybe I'll steal that.
Yeah, slip that in.
I'll steal that little nugget. That'd be great. And how do you kind of like? Do you get nervous? Are you quite like? Because I guess you've done it so many times that you're probably pretty. Or do you still get nervous? That's the question. Do you get nervous?
Well, kind of, but like it's like normal nervous. But then because everyone here, like the pros, is so like they make you feel so much more comfortable, and like they get to know us and they introduce themselves and they're like, "Hi, I'm like this," and like it's really nice.
And what do you tend to do before performance? Do you go and sit on your own quietly somewhere? Do you like all stay together and keep your minds occupied? How do you prepare?
I think it's different for everyone. I know personally I quite like to kind of keep to myself a bit. I might say hi to a couple of people, but just kind of getting in the zone, getting into my character. If there's any changes that have been made, getting those in my brain so I don't make a mistake. But yeah, it just depends on how people feel they need to prepare for a show, really, I guess.
I mean, are you always happy with the performance afterwards? Do you always like, yeah, smashed it? Or do you come up, because I always think performers are always so hard on themselves about like, and no one ever notices if there's like a slight change, but like I feel like the people themselves are like, oh my god, that particular thing was just terrible. Are you good at like just being able to walk away and go, oh, that was tonight? And
well, partly I think that we've learned is because New Adventures is such a wonderful company, instead of making you feel bad when you receive a correction, it's always delivered in like a positive way. And I feel like every time I make a mistake, yes, it's not great, but I learn from that, and the show as a whole grows from making mistakes.
And I'm like, God, I can't believe you've done that again.
Exactly. Yeah.
Get out. Go and stand over there until you can do better. No, but I just, I guess, you have to be perfectionist to an extent because that's kind of part of the thing. But is it easy to kind of like after performance just be like, oh, that was tonight, it's done, and it was cool, and then just move on?
I think it's also kind of weighing up in your head, because obviously after a show you may be like, oh my god, I've done this wrong, and this didn't go well, and everything like that. I think you got to kind of take it with a pinch of salt, and if it was a really major thing, then it needs to be corrected, or a pathway needs to be changed, or anything like that. But I think like the small things I think that's kind of the beauty of live theatre and everything. It's you don't, yes, there is the predictability for us that we know what's going on, but there still can be something that doesn't go right at the end of the day. So I think that's what's quite exciting. Yeah.
Please don't face plant into the orchestra tomorrow. Rather you didn't. Everything else fine. That maybe not. All right. Well, thank you so much, guys. I can see everyone's milling around, ready to start again. You need to get yourself whatever you have to do. Stretch, warm up. Yeah.
That's just for the music section with all of you. Let's just have a look back. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah. 5, 6. And how do you remember what angle you're going to be on? That's right. 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We'll have a reading session on this. And show of fish, we can do that report, but again, I think that's one we need to put time on tomorrow. It's sort of there. Thank you.